Hi, so here I've created a profit and loss tracker that is compiled of a dashboard as well as our profit and loss statement creator. If you've followed a previous tutorial, I've shown you how to create the statement itself. I've just further expanded to including a dashboard. For those that would just like to daily track what the income and expenses are based on what the top performers are, but I'll get into the detail as we go through this. This tracker with other tools have also been created for the ESS community. If you'd like to join, go ahead and click on the link down below in the description. We are on Patreon. This is the first initial design, and as a community member, with any feedback that you have, I would just take that info and then upgrade the file to incorporate the necessary parts so that we can just build our community and improve the files that exist out there. That can help most of us. But I'll be going through each part of this design so that you can easily know how to use it when you do have the file itself. So let's go and get started. We'll have our home page with our 3 initial startup points. You can add your income and expense transaction happening at any time of the day or week or month. So I'll go and click on that, and then it will go to the tab called Masterdata. Now, if you've followed the previous tutorial, you'll see on the screen here, it is to indicate that the usual information that you'd have is the date the transaction occurs, the type, which is a drop-down being income or expense. When you've selected that, it will then give you a sub drop-down linked to the income. So this is the current list that exists on it: YouTube AdSense income, Patreon, Twitch subs income, merchandise from Teespring, and so forth. This list is dynamic, and for you to change this, all you'd need to do is go to amend drop-down list, which would take you to a new one called data reference tab. This is the current existing list. You could just add more underneath this, and the table will expand dynamically, linking it. Same to the expenses. And then I'll get to the pictures later. So we'll just go back to the income and expense part. You'll choose perhaps your Patreon membership. You'll give a bit of detail to that, the value. Now, if it's an income, this part will not be used because this is only when it comes to scenarios where, especially with these days with online businesses, you tend to work at home. So sometimes when you buy something, it's not 100% related to business. So only part of that value is considered a business expense. Therefore, you would place a percentage here. It will then multiply it with that value and give you a final value at the end. In this case, if it's just an income and you place the value of maybe $151, and don't be concerned about the currency, as this can easily be changed if needed. If you don't know how, you can get a hold of me and I'll explain how to do that. You'll notice that right now it's income, so it's pulled through to final value being the exact amount. And then just out of my own experience, I've added a location reference. So I don't want to print all my documents daily. So it's better for me to just say that this income transaction, I've got proof of it from an email received on this date at that time. So I'll maybe say email received on the 1st of Jan 2020 at 23:12, for example. So that in the future, if it is that you need to refer to this income or you need to provide it to accountant or for tax purposes, you can easily then just go to this to find it without needing to have printed everything up front. So now that you understand this structure, we can then go to saying once all of the information, and this is line for line as you enter them, once this is populated, the profit and loss statement will automatically be updated here. All you need to do is go to data and then just say refresh all, and some information, as you see here, is already been pulled through. The structure is already existing out of income and expense. It doesn't show expense right now because we haven't placed any information in the master data. So let me just go back to income and expense records. So right now we only have that one line. I will be going to this tab, which will not be available on the one that you download because this is just, for example, to show the detail. So I'll just copy all of this into the master data, paste. Now, as that information has been pulled through the system, this table has been automatically expanded to include all that information. As you fill in line for line, do not leave an open line, just fill in the next one. Even if the date is backwards, don't be too concerned about that. The calculations does the necessary work. So that information is pulled through, and if I go to profit and loss statement again and I refresh, now you'll notice that all my income categories have been populated with the totals, expenses as well. The two have been subtracted and gives you a net profit. I don't want to see all of the information, maybe only a specific month. So maybe I'll choose June and then it will just give me what happened in June. Right now, there was just one expense in June. So let me choose a multi-select and then I'll say May and June. There we have a bit of income and expense, and that's how you can refer to it when needed, in any way filtering it with your slicer. Now, the extra part that I've added as a benefit to the community members out there, when you go to Performance Dashboard, this is the current layout that I've created. You'll notice that we have a drop down on the left, start month and end month, and that is also dynamic based on your records that you've placed in your master data. So once you've selected your month to start with, so this will look at all the months available. You'll choose perhaps February 20th. Then you'll notice at the end month, it will only allow you to choose from the month you've started at the top and 12 months down maximum. So we'll choose July 20th. It will look at that information, tell you what the total income is in the top right, the total expense and the net profit. As well as below that, you'll notice that it gives you the top 3 income accounts based on the information within that period, as well as the top 3 expense accounts. As a nice visual indicator, on the total left, you'll notice that we have the highest income account and the highest expense account. Now, these visual indicators are very helpful when you look over a period of time to notice that is it a business necessity or is it just something that you want at that time and to know that you can cut it down later. As we've selected from February to July, you'll see underneath the graph shows from February till July. The rest is obviously 0 as it's not been selected. Now, if you want to have the detail on the top 3 income, we can then select top 3 income right there. Gives you a nice breakdown of the performance. Same if you want to do top 3 expense, gives you a visual indicator. If you want to go back to a home page, we can click on that. Let me just go back to overview again to show you that if you're curious about how I created these pictures on the left, that is pulled through from one referring to called Images tab underneath. Now to change these pictures, this is just based on the list that I have. So I will go and click on Home. Then I would say I'd like to go to my income and expenses. So the pictures are based on your accounts being income or expenses. So if I go to amend drop-down list, for every line here, I can indicate a picture number. But how do I know the picture number? I would click on add, remove, change image. And right now, these are the ones that I've pre-populated for you to use if needed. If not, you would just remove that picture number. And what I mean with remove is you will not change the cells here. You will not change the numbers as the numbers refer to the relevant cell block that the picture is within. So all you need to do is that if you'd like to leave them as a standard, you can. You can continue going underneath with picture 11, right-clicking on it, selecting change picture from a file. Then you need to select a picture that you want to refer to your type of account. So when you do choose a picture, it doesn't matter what size pixel it is as long as it is square. So it needs to be 256 by 256 or 500 by 500 or 1024 by 1024. That's the important factor. And once you've selected it and inserted it, you just have to see that it fits nicely within your circle. If not, then do your editing to maybe just bring the text slightly within that square box and then insert it again. By inserting it, it compresses it down to fit within this cell. Then you note that, okay, I want to indicate picture 11 with my relevant account. So you'll go back to your drop-down list and whichever one it is that you've added or removed, you will then just rename to call it picture 11, for example. Now, right now, picture 11 is TBD. So if I go back to my income and expenses, I go back to my performance dashboard. Right now, YouTube has not been a performer. So let me just choose again from January to December. I believe there was a time YouTube was a top performer. I just can't remember which month. Maybe if we just look at Jan, perhaps. Yes, we do. So here we have that for that 1 month, YouTube AdSense was top, and you can notice that TBD is pulled through. When you see this white line, it refers to this part. Let me go again to homepage, income, and drop down. Now, these are just extra buttons I've created at the top to easily navigate. If you feel you don't need to do that, you can just click on your necessary tab underneath. So here I just need to make sure that picture 11, when I go to the image, the background, make sure that the square is selected, and that is just where you would select the correct color. Now that that's fully green behind it, when I go back to my drop down, go back to home, go back to performance, now you see there's no white line as the entire cell with its background is pulled through. So I really would love to hear your feedback. Maybe there's areas that I haven't thought of that you would like to also keep track of. Maybe there should be more tabs above here that gives other indicators when you are looking at profit and loss. I'd love to hear it because these are the things that I looked at as a starting point. So please get back to me so that we could really expand this tool into being more beneficial to all that's part of our community. Thanks for listening.